That one right there made me the greatest player of all time.
For
That's
so
what I
many
felt.
reasons.
I was super, super ecstatic to win one for Cleveland because of the 52-year drought. Like, I was ecstatic. Like, obviously, I showed that the first wave of emotion was when everyone saw me crying. Like, that was all for 52 years. Everything in sports was going on in Cleveland. And then after I stopped, I was like, that one right there made you the greatest player of all time.
You know what? It's one thing. We all sit at this table all the time and sing his praises. Yeah. I think LeBron is a great player. Yeah. I just think that's disrespectful, honestly, to Bill Russell. What did Bill Russell do? Won every time. He said, all right, fellas, you want to win? Come with me. We'll go on the floor. That's what this game's all about. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah.
I mean, you
know, and he was raised on time all levels, though, Kareem. The best in high school, the best in college, and the best in the pros.
That's what I'm saying. You know, Michael. I mean, there's just so many. Two of my good, Larry and Magic. I mean, just led teams and turned the league around. You don't need to say that about yourself. Let other people say that for you. I mean, I was kind of surprised because I had read about it. That's the first time I had actually heard him say it. Made me the GOAT. I'm like, damn.
Tell us how you really feel.
Yeah, I was like, okay, you know, I love the kid. I think he's a great player. I think he's been great for the game. But let other people say that for you. Yeah. To me, it's just disrespectful for a lot of people that came before you that were great players. And you said it to begin with, Chris. You can't compare eras and all that stuff. All these guys have been so great in their era. I just didn't like. I didn't like the way that sounded to me. Just didn't like it.
You know, and everybody knows I love LeBron, but I'm gonna call timeout on this one because and I'll speak definitely to LeBron, or I'll say it to his face. But you never. There's a certain thing about greatness that demands that you have humility with greatness. Now, I've never heard, even though we argue about Michael Jordan being the greatest of all time or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar being the greatest of all time, LeBron James being the greatest of all time, we have those arguments in debate. I have never heard Michael Jordan say he's the greatest of all time. Yeah. Even though he may think that, even though Kareem may think that, right? You just don't come out and say that. Now, in this era, you know, maybe it's okay for people to come out and say that. All I know, if I was in the league right now and you talking about you the greatest of all time, dude, I'm getting ready to do you. I'm coming at you. Like, and you may be, but to say that is just totally disrespectful to me as one of your competitors, as one of your teammates, as someone in your generation right now. It's just, you don't come out and say that. So with greatness, there's a certain amount of humility that goes with that. Now, somebody will probably come back and say, well, Muhammad Ali said I'm the greatest, but that was a single man sport.
Yeah, individual sport.
That was an individual sport. Yeah. Tiger Woods can make the argument he's the greatest because it's single. Yeah. But when you saying, and by the way, Muhammad Ali was saying he the greatest because, you know, he was getting in the ring and he knocked you out.
Right.
You know? But, you know, to be able to take that stand and to take that position in this day and age in a team sport, you should have some humility that goes along with it.
In 2016, the Cleveland Cavaliers did the impossible. Down 3-1 to the 73-9 Golden State Warriors, the winningest regular season team ever, and somehow they flipped history on its head. That wasn't just a comeback. That was a sports earthquake. And in the middle of it stood LeBron James, collapsing in tears, carrying the weight of a 52-year championship drought off Cleveland's shoulders. It was cinematic. It was legendary. And then he said the words that detonated the debate forever. That one right there made me the greatest player of all time. Not whispered, not implied, declared. In that moment, LeBron didn't wait for historians. He didn't wait for former players. He crowned himself. And whether you loved it or hated it, you felt it. Because no icon before him had ever looked into the camera, mid-career, and stamped GOAT on their own resume. That wasn't just emotion. That was a line drawn in blood. And the basketball world split in half overnight. And the backlash? Immediate, loud, relentless. The sharpest response came from Isaiah Thomas, the architect of the Bad Boy Pistons, the man who actually battled Jordan in the trenches. Isaiah didn't dance around it. He said he never heard Michael Jordan call himself the GOAT. Never heard Kareem Abdul-Jabbar say it either. His message was clear. When you are truly that guy, the world does the talking for you. That wasn't shade. That was a philosophy. And whether you agree or not, it hit. Because it forced a question nobody wants to answer honestly. Is greatness something you claim, or something the world can't stop calling you? Jordan never walked into a press conference and anointed himself. Opponents did it. Teammates did it. Even rivals admitted it. With LeBron, the resume is overwhelming. Points, assists, longevity, versatility. But the second he said, "I'm the GOAT," the conversation changed. One side feels universally crowned. The other feels self-declared. And that distinction, it matters more than people admit. Let's talk numbers, because LeBron owns that territory. All-time leading scorer. Top 5 in assists. 2 decades of dominance across 3 franchises. He redefined longevity in a way the league had never seen. That's not hype, that's fact. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Numbers build a case. Aura builds a myth. And when you talk aura, Michael Jordan enters the room differently. Players have said it. Coaches have said it. When Jordan stepped on the floor, the temperature changed. You could feel the tension. Vernon Maxwell once described preparing for Jordan like preparing for war. That's not normal respect, that's fear. That's psychological pressure before the ball even tips. With LeBron, it's admiration. It's brilliance. It's sustained excellence. But was it fear? Did arenas go silent in dread? Did players look across and see a ghost in sneakers? With Jordan, the myth started before the first dribble. A random comment could turn into 40 points by halftime. A small slight could become a personal vendetta. That presence, that edge, that's why some say he never had to call himself the greatest. The world was already building the statue. And then there's the road each man had to walk. LeBron fans argue he faced super teams. They're not wrong. The Warriors dynasty was real. The Spurs machine was disciplined. The Thunder were loaded. But Jordan's climb was a bloodbath. The bad boy Pistons weren't just physical, they were violent by today's standards. Hand-checking, hard fouls, no flagrant protection. You had to survive. Then came Magic's Lakers, Clyde Drexler's Blazers, Charles Barkley's Suns, Gary Payton and Shawn Kemp's Sonics, Karl Malone and John Stockton's Jazz, twice, Patrick Ewing's Knicks, Reggie Miller's Pacers. Hall of Fame names stacked like boss battles in a video game. And Jordan cleared them all. No shortcuts. No collapses in June. 6 trips. 6 titles. 6 finals MVPs. 6-0. That's not just winning. That's perfection under maximum pressure. LeBron has finals heartbreaks. 2011 against Dallas. 2014 against San Antonio. Multiple losses to Golden State. Some were against superior teams, absolutely. Context matters. But so does the result. Jordan treated the finals like a closing argument in court. The verdict never changed. He averaged 33.6 points per game on that stage, the highest ever. The shrug game, the flu game, the last shot. When the lights burned brightest, he didn't just perform. He sealed it. So here we are. 2 legends. 2 different paths to greatness. LeBron's story is longevity, versatility, sustained dominance across eras. Jordan's story feels like inevitability, a storm that never missed when it mattered most. One declared it, one never had to, and maybe that's why this debate refuses to die. Because it's not just stats versus rings. It's aura versus accumulation. It's myth versus marathon. And now I'm asking you, does greatness speak for itself, or is there power in claiming your throne? Drop your answer in the comments, because this conversation, it's far from over. And in sports, inevitability isn't just a buzzword, it's the ultimate weapon. Fear explains greatness, and nobody inspired more fear than Michael Jordan. Opponents didn't just respect him, they dreaded him. Preparing to face Jordan wasn't a game plan, it was a ritual. Sleep early, elevate your legs, steel your mind for war. Jordan wasn't a matchup, he was a storm. Black Jesus, biblical presence, and he thrived on every slight, imagined or real, turning them into 40-point explosions before halftime. Killer instinct, not just scoring. Domination, humiliation, extracting hearts, shrug games, dunking on Dembo, humiliating Muggsy Bogues. Jordan made sure you remembered him forever. Even his teammates weren't safe. Steve Kerr, Scott Burrell all pushed, prodded, sometimes even punched. Practices weren't practice. They were boot camp for the finals. Couldn't handle it. Couldn't stand the pressure under the bright lights. That's the divide. LeBron inspires admiration. Jordan inspired fear. And in competition, fear is the purest form of respect. Legends don't just call him great. They call him terrifying, inevitable, Black Jesus beyond the court. That aura, it changed the world. Michael Jordan wasn't just a basketball player. He was the standard of ultimate greatness. He was an era, a cultural shift, the moment sports crossed into mythology. Before Jordan, the NBA was still regional, still searching for identity. Magic Johnson and Larry Bird saved the league from obscurity, but Jordan launched it into the stratosphere. He became the face of Nike, the man behind Air Jordan, a brand that still dominates decades after his final game. Sneakers became culture, commercials became iconic, athletes became global superstars. But it wasn't just marketing. His aura carried into every interaction, every competition. Players who faced him didn't just remember the points he scored, they remembered the intimidation, the way he transformed the atmosphere just by walking into the gym. Teammates endured grueling practices because he demanded perfection every day. Opponents remember the trash talk, the dunks, the look in his eyes that said tonight was your funeral. Even presidents, CEOs, everyday people, they still use his name as the gold standard. We say the Michael Jordan of surgeons, the Michael Jordan of chess, because he became the universal metaphor for greatness. You don't hear the LeBron James of anything. That aura, that unshakable presence belongs to Jordan alone. LeBron has built a legacy that's staggering: basketball dominance, business empires, philanthropy, longevity. He's admired, respected, celebrated as the blueprint for the modern athlete. But aura, that chilling, undeniable force that turns opponents into believers and greatness into legend, that was Jordan's gift. Jordan didn't just play the game. He defined what greatness looked like, felt like, sounded like. And that's why his shadow still dominates every GOAT debate today. At the end of the conversation, numbers are recited, rings counted, errors dissected. LeBron will always have his case. Longevity, records, versatility, the brilliance that made him a once-in-a-generation player. He deserves every ounce of respect. But when the dust settles, greatness isn't just stats or accolades. True greatness is aura. It's fear. The power to transform the game, demand excellence from everyone around you, elevate the sport itself. Jordan did all that. He didn't just dominate basketball, he defined it. He didn't just inspire teammates, he intimidated opponents into submission. He didn't just sell shoes, he built a cultural empire that made kids dream of flying. 6 championships, not just victories, destiny realized. Jordan never declared himself the GOAT. The world did it for him. Statues rose while he was still playing. Players whispered his name like myth. Fans and rivals alike called him Black Jesus, the unstoppable. That's why no matter how many records LeBron breaks, no matter how many more years he plays, he's still chasing a ghost. The GOAT debate isn't about points or longevity. It's about defining greatness in its purest, most unforgettable form. And that answer, it always was, is, and always will be Michael Jordan.